Here it is, Darien Apocalypse, all the way from China, and we're just going to open the box and see exactly what we've got in here. So, the usual thrill of the shrink wrap, and well, I think it looks terrific front thing. And what I really like about the back is I quite like this little bit of a flash up here. I didn't really like that when I first saw what Marco did, but he's got a real talent for these things. And if anyone wants their box signing, this is where we discovered a terrific place to sign it and show off a signature. So we'll be there at UK Games Expo this week. So if you want your box signing, come along and we'll do that for you. But back to the game. So open the box. Here we go. What a great sound. So we have the rules. And the nice rules, but there's 12 pages, just to say. I think we've mentioned this in the past, that the first page is an introduction, and then the next 2 pages are pretty well components only. Back page is clarifications and some credits. So really you've only got 9 pages of rules, which 2 pages are a real breakdown of the buildings. That's pretty critical to understanding the game, and really read that carefully. And so we'd like to think it's not too complicated. It's not full of illustrations, but it's got 1 or 2 bits and some nice boxing to try and make it clear to what's going on. So we've done our level best as ever. Hope you like that part. Now these we put in as really quite a late afterthought. These go with the enhancements here, these discs, which looks a little bit muddy and brown on their own. So we thought it'd be nice to put a sticker on each of those. So that will then allow us to identify those much more clearly. So that was a little bonus, which we're pleased to have done. Enhancement discs. The map looks small, doesn't it? But wait till you see this. It's terrific the way this comes out into really a very satisfying size of map. And there it is. You might have seen that already on different media outlets or whatever, photos or videos. But there it is, and we're very pleased with it as it's a straightforward board, but I think it tells a story in its own right of the 4 different worlds. There's Scotland, there's the Caribbean, and this is where the action starts in the middle, and here's where the Apocalypse Horseman will be going. This is a reverse of the enhancement array. That's where the discs will go. And each player then gets their own array, in 4 colours. This is Patterson's array. This is where your building tiles will go. 3 more of those. It's a 4-player game, for those who didn't know. And then you get a wodge of really nicely produced counters, which fit on the board in the different roles we've got to do. So there are 8 sheets of counters. Hexes go on the terrain here. This is how you discover the lands. These are the buildings, which will go on your array. And then you've got the 4 ships, go on each one, goes on one of Scotland. You've got some money. You've got some action tokens here. And then you've got the shares here for buying the enhancements and for doing other things and victory points in the game. So plenty of weight in that bit. Right. Those who played Nina and Pinter will recognise these rather fine meeples. Actually, these, I must say, are slightly better than the Nina and Pinter ones, I'd have to say. They are solid wood, as opposed to the rather sort of constructed wood that was in the Nina and Pinter. So those are really nice. I like the colours as well. 1 set for each player, 1 set of cubes for each player, which is the resources you're generating in the game. We'll come to the other board bits in a minute. Each player has a nice little tidy action board that allows you to show what you're going to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different actions. So your action tokens are placed on those to show what you're doing, and a little storage area and a calculating place there. So we got this size down actually to something far more convenient. It was a bit bulbous when we first did it. I think now it sits in front of players really well. Very pleased with that. Hello, phone's going. Never mind, we're going to press on. 3 dice. Very nice. Here are the cards which generate the activities of the horseman. These are absolutely critical to the game. So, as you see, nicely produced. Sometimes you get 3 horsemen at a time, sometimes 2, and sometimes 1. If you get more horsemen, you do get more of the actions each turn. If you get fewer horsemen, you only get 5 actions, but you can then work in various worlds. You need to really understand the game and how it works. It's quite different from many games. It's cooperative, if you didn't realise, as well as a competitive game. But it's the way the game works against each player that I think makes it really, really work tremendously well. Like a cooperative game, obviously does that in most cases, but it's a different sort of format. So those will sit there in the game, discard it to there. And then we come to the pièce de résistance, the four horsemen themselves. And here they are. Here we are, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I always forget, unfortunately, the names of the horsemen. I'm going to have to refer to the side of the box. The black horseman is famine. The pale horseman is death. The white horseman is pestilence. And the red horseman, which I didn't do in a pure red because of the red count, I didn't have any confusion with that. The red horse is war. And that's where they sit. And what they do is when the card comes over, they get placed on one of each of these worlds. So this goes to the north world, is where war will go. Over here sits on there. And the south world gets death. Ooh, south over here, of course. Now, what does that mean? Just very quickly, it means that that world, those worlds, they're inactive for this turn. So you can only operate in those two worlds. Makes life a little difficult. What you also get is that when those horsemen appear, you get the shadow horsemen. These are the lasting legacies of the major horseman arriving. So when that horseman arrives, you get a little horseman arrives on that square there as well. And then you get a little horseman arrives on that square there. And those will sit around, and they will affect what you can then do when those horsemen disappear and those worlds become active. And so the game goes on. I'm not going to tell you too much more about it. It goes on and on. So there we are. Last little... we've got plenty of plastic bags. I'm sure you'll appreciate those. Some silicone, for those who like silicone. And we like this as well. We were asked about this. Storage. Da, da, da. How neat is that? You've got a little storage area under there, because actually when you ping all this out, it does fill the box up. Well, we're delighted with it. Really, really pleased. In fact, I'd have to say that's the first time we've actually opened one and actually had a look at these, which are the last things to arrive. So thrilled to bits that it's as good as it is. We're there at Games Expo. If you can get along and have a look at it, have a play, and if you like it, please get a game off us there. Otherwise, look out for it in your local shops, or directly contact us direct. We're happy to supply them. What we really want, we want people playing it. That's the most important thing to us. Let's get lots of people playing this game. It's different, it's interesting. I think people are going to like it. I hope so. Thank you very much.